All right, what's up, college baseball fans? Welcome to another episode of the 11.7 podcast, weekend number 9 recap. The structure of the show is going to be very easy and clean. So if you don't care about a certain conference or if you don't care about what we have to say, you can skip ahead and move forward.
We will have a
We're going
time.
to start with the SEC here. And the flow of the show is we're going to hit on the SEC. What do these teams need to do moving forward to host a regional? There's a few teams like towards the bottom of the standings. Like, what do they need to do to continue on pace to make a regional? And then we'll flow into different conferences and different storylines from there. So the structure is starting with the SEC and then going with the flow from that. The episode is brought to you by Home Field Apparel. 15% off using promo code CWS25. This week coming up, they will be releasing 20 new college baseball specific merchandise for their Diamond Classic Series, I believe they call it. So they're going to be teasers on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Thursday is the drop date. So sign up on their website, homefieldapparel.com. Get the email reminders, get the text message reminders because this stuff sells out very fast, as we saw last year. Um, the what do we have here? What are we sharing our screen with, Dimitri?
I just wanted to point something out
Uh-oh.
that Texas is Team Penn. That's all.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Oh.
for those that are, obviously listening at home for this podcast that we do every week, Dimitri's showing a picture of a tweet that says Penn on point from Texas baseball, team that I actually grew up idolizing. What he didn't see was the tweet that I sent out that said Penn.
We don't care about that tweet. Anyways, go ahead, man.
That the University of Texas interacted with. But more importantly, for the viewers at home and listeners at home, that could not have given less of a shit about the last 30 seconds of what just happened. But they do care about a Home Field Apparel that we're pointing at. CWS 25, 20 teams, pullovers, hats. Folks, we got Midwest teams. We got Big 10 teams. We got Big 12 teams. We got SEC and ACC squads. We've even got some mid-major love coming our way. If you do not stay tuned tomorrow, it's going to be the teaser of a lifetime. I think they're hitting us kind of heavy first. Ben, if I remember correctly with our conversation with the home field reps, beware. We're going to have some top 5 teams in the country getting some love, I think, around 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon. How'd I do? Good segue?
Great segue. And then even more of a teaser. There's talks about us potentially doing a long live stream on the day of the drop, potentially 11.7 hour live stream. If it gets approved, Thursday will be the day. And don't forget, series this coming up week for week 10, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because Easter is on Sunday. So it'll be equivalent to Friday night during our Thursday show if it gets approved. So
How much can our listeners believe that shit? Because you guys have been saying Club Omaha for the last 2 months now, and that hasn't happened. So what are the odds of this actually happening?
That's fair.
yeah.
We'll
take our word for
Extremely
it.
high. Be there or be square.
Yeah.
They're definitely around.
Right. Okay. Let's get into the show, fellas. This is getting a little unorganized. The Auburn Tigers had one of the most impressive weeks we've seen a team have this season. Midweek win on the road against Georgia Tech, who's in first place in the ACC right now. And then they sweep LSU, a team that I believe 4 days ago I said is a clear top tier team in the SEC and in the country. Tier A. What do we think about the Auburn Tigers? Since they got swept 2 weeks ago, they've gone weekend series win against Alabama on the road and then a sweep over LSU. Are we thinking they're just hot at the right time, or is this
Bama was at home.
or is this a team that is just downright nasty, like a good team all the way around?
I think LSU just had a rough weekend at the plate. Auburn knew how to pitch them. They just executed pitching in every big moment. LSU didn't do anything. They limited damage every single time. LSU, I think, with like 3 for 20 something on the weekend with runners on or runners scoring. I think it was runners on. They just did nothing when guys were on base. Auburn, tip your cap to them. They just limited them. That was pretty much all it was. And I think it was just a one-off weekend for LSU offensively. Because you saw what they did to Kyson Witherspoon a week, 2 weeks ago. They hit one of the top pitching staffs in the country. So I think it was just a bad weekend for the Tigers. But give all the credit to Auburn. They outplayed them all weekend, and we're the better team.
Well, something I thought that was cool was like Sam Dutton, who was at LSU last year, comes in Friday night at home. He's one of my favorite guys to watch pitch. He mixes speeds well.
Straight out of Yellowstone.
Yes. He's somebody that's not a thrower, and I don't think he's obsessed with getting drafted super high and trying to light up radar guns, which I totally understand players now, like trying to feed their families. Like, hey, I got to throw 95 plus to get that signing bonus. Nah, Sam Dutton is, hey, I'm going to pitch, I'm going to change speeds, I'm going to change the location, and I'm going to be in control of this game. So, I mean, he took it to his former team, and I think he's solidified himself as one of the better Friday night starters in the country right now.
I thought, too, this is a series where every weekend we've had like a really exciting storyline about the team that was squaring off against Auburn, right? Like even back to that Alabama series where I'm like, man, I'm all in on the Tide. Well, finally, the conversation is too loud, right? Like dating back to Dimitri's point, that Georgia Tech win on Tuesday. It was such a good baseball game that meant a lot to that program. Guys, this was the first sweep of LSU since 1988 in Auburn baseball history. 19,000 people were in attendance this weekend, largest sellout crowds in the history of that program. If you build it, they will come. There's the old cliche line, but truthfully, they poured gas on the fire of this program last year, and they're reaping the benefits of it, man. We talked about it a little off air, this idea that Ike Irish is getting a ton of love behind the plate for them. He's been a monster defensively and at the dish too. But Cooper McMurray, that entire offense, like McMurray's raking, OPS over 1,300. And offensively, they're hitting 322 with 11 guys all hitting over 300. Like, these are wiffle ball, Little League type numbers. And frankly, like, I did not give enough respect. I was not paying attention enough. And they sure as hell have it now, man. This offense is lethal. And a team that's got to be worth a conversation, maybe a little bit louder moving forward.
Right. And one more thing about Auburn. They have series wins now against, I believe it's Vanderbilt, Kentucky, Alabama, and a sweep of LSU. They get swept at Georgia, at Georgia. Next weekend, this coming up weekend, they have to go to Austin, Texas to play, presumably, who's going to be the number one team in the country starting tomorrow. So it's like the road doesn't get much easier, but wow, are we going to find out a lot about this team?
Yeah.
We were talking about this pre-show, specifically Dimitri and I, and just from a handicapping perspective, one, before I even get to that, I lost a ton of money on Auburn this week. I had Georgia Tech. I took LSU twice in this series, but it was easy for me to understand, hey, why LSU had lost. This is a back-to-back road series. I talked about it just last show. I typically love taking the home teams against the team on a back-to-back road. They played at Oklahoma, huge weekend, especially for the pitching staff there. Kept Oklahoma's offense down to low-scoring numbers in all three of those games. And then they traveled down to Auburn. Very impressive game from Dutton. Huge statement from Auburn as a whole from this series. I don't want to go in game by game specific because you guys already just did that. The purpose of this episode and why we're going through conference by conference is to talk about big storylines. And I think Auburn, they won this weekend, by and large, right? Let's talk big picture. I still am a little bit of a doubter on this Auburn team. No doubt, top 16 now. You got to now. I mean, we raised that bar because you're going to be an NCAA tournament team out of the SEC. There's how many teams in the top 13 of the RPI? We were talking about it pre-show. Where I have questions still on this Auburn team is on the mound. Can they do enough to win? Yes, they can sweep a regional, but especially at home. But do they have enough pitching to where if they fall down in the losers bracket in that home regional, or in the first weekend of the College World Series, do they have enough to climb themselves out of it? I don't think so.
That's pretty bold to say right after back-to-back series wins, and I would disagree with you, Noah. I think that they have enough, and it sucks because Auburn gets this like weird stigma around social media and like around really just everybody in college baseball. They look at Auburn as like, oh, we're going to win that series. Maybe it's because like the last couple of years they were in the bottom of the SEC standings, but
Dude, it
what
was
Bush
like 1
Thompson's
year.
able to do what?
It was like 1 year, maybe 2 years. They were
Yeah,
in
but
Omaha 2
that's
years
what I was
ago.
saying is like traditionally, like they're probably the most consistent team outside of the big name guys like the Texas and the LSU's and Tennessee's. Very consistent,
Auburn,
able to
No
get
doubt.
people out.
This
And I
Auburn
think,
team went into
I think a
Corvallis
big reason,
and won that super regional when nobody picked them to
yeah,
win that and went to Omaha.
dude,
Like,
I respect Auburn's program a ton, and Butch Thompson is a huge reason for that. But we can't forget that just 2 years ago, this was a team that went 2-barbecue at Plainsman when they hosted a regional.
Yeah,
but it was
fair.
nasty. Yeah, they had
And
the
that was the Penn, Samford, and Southern Miss regional. It was fun.
Babe Ruth of the Ivy League beat them. Oops.
But anyways, maybe LSU on the bright side. If you're an LSU fan, you're gonna fit right into the hot, cold, hot theory, which traditionally plays pretty well in your favor.
well, I don't think they're cold. It's just 1 weekend. Cold is like 3 weeks straight of just
They could
chaos.
get there though.
Yeah.
Oh, I mean, I don't know their schedule. I don't have their schedule in front of me. What do they have? What do they have the next 2 weekends?
We just said they're next.
They have so they have Alabama, Tennessee, Texas A&M, Arkansas.
Not easy.
Oh, baby.
Texas A&M is now considered a tough weekend again. Are they, guys?
Are they?
Are they yet?
Does Texas A&M win 2 out of 3 if it's not South Carolina this weekend?
No, probably not.
I don't think so either. They
Dude,
did not play
yeah.
perfect baseball. A&M
South
is
Carolina
playing.
is bad.
Yeah. The guys that South Carolina was throwing at the back end of their bullpen was almost embarrassing to the SEC.
Dude, you guys are tripping, man. I get it. I totally get it. I understand. If the storyline was Auburn, no doubt. The player storyline is going to be in Oxford, and we'll get there in a second. But if you're looking for the storyline in college baseball this weekend, never been done before. A grand slam and a walk-off granny in the 9th to win a baseball game never happened. Never. Not in the Big South, not in the Ivy, not in the Big West.
How do you know that 1,000% for sure?
Didn't the NCAA tweet it out?
Yeah, they did. Yeah, they did.
NCAA tweeted out. Now,
That's
granted,
awesome.
they've tripped up before.
Hey,
a la-
I'm old enough to remember when the NCAA tweeted out that Coastal beat Troy in a series.
Yeah, I beat you to it. Yeah, a la Coastal beating Troy. I get it. But I'm going off their word. They're smarter than I. But you're right. If there's some back-end bully somewhere else in the country that shuts the door down, fine. Still have to be able to do it. They got the swag.
There's one clip in my head when I think of that South Carolina Texas A&M series. Paul Maneri walked out of the dugout. It was 12-11. You're like, South Carolina about to lose this game. Paul Maneri trots out to the mound, looks up at his pitcher, like, dude, he's like 3 feet taller than him, and just taps him on the shoulder. And it was one of those, buddy, keep your head up, keep working. Just keep your head up and keep working, pal. And just turned around and walked back. It was no energy. It was just like, I was just like, dude, Paul, send the young guy out there with energy to fire this guy up and give him some hope. Not the old grandpa tap him on the chest. Hey, buddy, it's gonna be all right. And walk back. It was just like, dude, this is over. This experiment is over in Columbia, South Carolina. It needs to end tomorrow.
Man, I think the national, just headline, or not even headline, but the thought around South Carolina is give him 2 years. But I'm in the same boat as D. I think A good coach gets some wins out of a team. A good coach does not blow a 9 or 8 running lead in the 9th inning. And come
They
on.
were down 12.
12 to
Weren't they?
2.
Yeah.
It was 13
Oh,
unanswered.
I'm sorry. A&M scored 13 unanswered. That's what it was. But the Grand Slam put it as a 15-12
15
game.
to 12.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like, dude, when you think of South Carolina and Palmineri getting whatever he can get out of this team, Sully gets everything out of his Florida squad. You can think of so many teams around the SEC that they get the most out of their players. Ming Jones, you think that guy has got a roster that competes with LSU and Texas and stuff? Not even close. That roster didn't even come close. And that guy get the most out of his players. He knows how to coach them. He knows the game plan to get the most out of them. I'm just not seeing it from South Carolina. They look pitiful. They look just hopeless.
My thought is he does not deserve a second. I'm talking about in this case, he does not deserve a second year because like what's the point? It's not like he's waiting for a recruiting class, right? Like go get your
Correct.
young guy in there. Whoever you want to hire. It's you don't need to wait for Paul Maneri to get a second year because he's not going to go get a recruiting class that's crazy.
And
Like,
it's a new athletic director. I think it's going to happen. A lot of people aren't saying it, listening to other shows and other narratives. I think it's going to happen. It's a new AD.
I'll say this. I'll play devil's advocate to this conversation. And it's where like I was team Michael early and I still am. And even if they lose every game the rest of the year, I still am because there's this idea that first year it's difficult, right? Like you're trying to feel everything out. You're trying to lay this groundwork. Ride or die for that guy because he's building something. Now we live in an instantaneous society. This is a microwave, right? We want it right now. I'm never going to call for someone's job in this sport because it's different. You have to be the CEO of your company. Ben, you say it all the time. To coach in college baseball, you want to be the head coach? Right now, you have to write the lineups. You have to run practices. You have to recruit. You have to now deal with the portal. Now you have to learn how to fundraise NIL money. So I'm not calling for Paul Maneri's head. I'm sure as hell not saying that he doesn't deserve a second year because I think with his tenure and his legacy, it's the reason he got this job. He can have as many as he wants. My question would be, are you cool wearing all those hats? Because if you're not, then South Carolina needs to make a change. If he goes, yeah, now I see what this looks like. And the SEC is so unforgiving this year that even a 10-run lead on a Sunday, you're like, man, that's not safe anymore. This league is so stupid that you have to be able to wear all those hats and you have to be able to do it right now. That would be my only question. And I think he's going to have that answer of, hey, cool, like I kind of know what I'm getting in store, like what I need to do better than next year. Because to your point right now, like it's just the SEC, there's a zero margin of error.
But I don't think when we say, for example, we're saying Paul Maneri of South Carolina, we're not calling for his job. We're basically, I mean, maybe we are essentially calling for a job. But
yeah, you said tomorrow.
We're basically saying
that's what we're doing.
I'm not sitting here calling out Paul Maneri like he sucks, he's not good. It's more so this is just the wrong time and wrong place for Paul Maneri to be coaching in South Carolina. It's just more of like because we all know what Paul Maneri's done. His legacy speaks for himself. But who gives a shit what he did 10 years ago? In today's world,
I agree with you, Dimitri. College baseball right now is not the place to have a coach like as a gap year or a gap 2 years to find your right coach. It's so counterproductive. Like the purpose of getting your coach in there and giving him 3 or 4 years to try to build a program and win games, like that has to happen now. Like you can't just let Paul Maneri have a gap year or a 2-year bridge where he's coaching your team and then you're trying to find your coach because the way the portal is, the guys he brings in are going to leave whenever he leaves, and the guys that want to go to South Carolina won't go because they don't know who the coach is going to be in the future. So it's like, what are we doing? Like, go find your guy. Go hire him. Skyler need
100%.
like June 30th. Go hire him, and he'll bring in his guys, and like there'll be success.
Earlier than June 30th.
Well, that's what I was going to say, and I don't want to sit on this and hone on it all day. That's why I'd say, like, if he now knows what he's getting in store, like, I understand what the gauntlet looks like. Let's go run it. Because if you remember, he got the job during the College World Series final last year, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I tell this story a ton because it became so real to me. When Tennessee wins, I go, hey, when's the parade going to be? Josh Leonard goes, it's tomorrow. I'm 3 weeks late. I go, what the hell are you talking about? He's like, yo, I go to the Cape on Friday. Parade's on Wednesday. I'm late. Paul Maneri got the job, didn't know who his assistants were. And the reigning national champions are going, yo, we're 3 weeks late in the portal. We got to go. So to Ben's point, like, yo, you can do this thing fast. It's probably a bad example, but South Carolina fans feel like they're on the same level as Texas. So maybe it's not a bad example. Like, look what Schloss and the boys did in year one. Like, this thing feels different. And tomorrow morning, they're going to be the number one team in the land. So to your point, like, does he have the right support system to be able to go recruit this thing the way that we are now, like, watching it all unfold?
For what it's worth, Maneri was 9 days earlier than I think you're thinking, because it was the Wednesday before College World Series Thursday, because his intro press conference was on press day with all 8 teams at the CWS. I remember clipping him, like just a couple of statements from his intro.
That hurts my argument.
Like, and also Monty Lee, and the entire hiring process was, in my opinion, not ideal. It was Ray Tanner's final move as athletic director. Then he stepped down. It just seemed like a olive branch to a buddy of his back when he was coaching, in my opinion anyway. And the entire coaching staff surrounding Maneri was to make sure that they kept the talent that they had recruited through the high school class, and also know that they had somebody who could recruit in the transfer portal. You needed the younger guys that understood that, and Monty Lee was that guy, right?
Right.
Yeah,
And
the whole
honestly,
hiring thing was focused around Monty Lee, but they didn't want to give Monty Lee the head job. That was
but it's like
literally what
almost
it was.
doing Monty Lee a disservice. Like, if you think Monty Lee is good to go, like, let him be your guy.
Yeah,
Like, don't let him sit behind Paul Maneri and not have the keys to the house. Like, if
yeah, I
Monty
mean,
Lee's your guy, like, let him be your guy.
yeah,
Monty Lee.
they
Yeah.
just
Anyways,
they
we got to move on. We got to
yeah.
move on from this series. Look, A&M's won 5 straight games in the SEC. That's great. And like, they've put themselves in position to, like, honestly, they win 6 or 7 more SEC games this year. They're going to make a regional. The problem is with A&M, if you look at their schedule coming up, it is absolutely insane what they have left in the SEC. At Arkansas, at Texas, home against LSU, and then you play 3 against Missouri, and then you go at Georgia to end the season. Can you
1, 2,
find 7
3, and
wins there?
6.
What?
That's number 1, 2, 3, and 16 in the country.
So stupid.
Can you find 6 or 7 wins in the SEC there?
Yeah.
3 against Missouri. Has to happen. And then you don't get swept. You win 1 game in each of those 4 series. Like, that's your path, but man, it's tight.
Yeah.
That's 13 wins. If they sweep Missouri, get 1 against Georgia, LSU, Texas, and Arkansas, that's 7 wins.
Yeah, that's your 7.
I'll tell you, they look like a team that looks like a top 5 team in the country to me in the last 2 weeks. And let's talk
No, they
about
didn't. No, they didn't.
They did. They beat the number 1 team in the country last week. I was using it as a transition. Damn it! If you want to,
They had a great day. They had a great day against Tennessee and beat a lousy ass South Carolina team.
I guarantee they make the NCAA tournament.
You can't
Guarantee it.
You can't flirt.
Nobody said that.
You can't flirt with 2 losses against South Carolina, man. You can't.
Nobody said they're missing.
They're
not a top 5. You can't say they're a top 5 team in the country after the last 5 games.
I didn't say they were. I said they looked like it. I said they looked like it. I said they looked like one. 1-5.
What was your transition? What was your transition?
I mean, they beat last week. Number 1 team in the country. Liam Doyle and
it's good to see that their offense is back. It is, but I don't know if it's.
I really don't give that much. I am wearing A&M colors, so I'm going to look like a homer if someone clips this. I don't give a shit anymore. Andrew Fisher, Liam Doyle looks really nervous in Oxford, huh?
Hey, listen, that was a fun series to watch, guys. Like, I don't think Ole Miss is getting the credit that they deserve for the team they've put together. And like with Andrew Fisher, Liam Doyle playing big roles in that weekend series win on the road for Tennessee, like I could just tell how like Ole Miss fans were a little bit more pissed off about it. Like, damn, how do we let those guys go?
Yeah,
They're both studs.
I don't know if that's a testament to Tony Vitello just being the more desired program, or that's a testament to these guys just didn't feel like they got the right end of the stick at Ole Miss. Like, I don't know what happened in Oxford. I don't know why they wanted to leave, but it makes you wonder. Like, did Vitello already have players really wanting to leave a good spot to go to Knoxville? Maybe. Cannon Peebles left a good NC State program to go to Knoxville. A lot of guys are doing it. So, who knows?
It was a super fun series, though. Like, I know Vitello talked about it, and he's like, everyone made it a huge storyline, but like the most dangerous piece in that Ole Miss lineup was, a Wildcat. So they're a fun team. Like the Federico kid, I listened to a podcast with him earlier this week with some awesome Cincinnati dudes. He's a really fun body. Luke Hill, Isaac Humphrey. Like, they've got a fun squad. And I know there's been a lot of conversation down there, but it felt like Swayze was kind of crazy for the first time in a while. I know there's a lot of orange there, but it was a lot of fun. Maybe not as much fun as Arkansas, Georgia, but pretty damn close.
Yeah. I think, you know what the thing is? I think Ole Miss, if they, for some reason, they just don't find a way into hosting, that's going to be one of the most dangerous 2 seeds, because that lineup can any day of the week put up a 4 spot, and they did it all weekend, and they've been doing it. That is a big, powerful lineup. So I don't know. I can't imagine a world where that's a 2 seed and somebody else's regional.
Right. Well, I mean, think about this. If the 9th inning today goes a little different, how do we perceive Ole Miss? Do we perceive them as like, holy crap, they just won 2 out of 3 against Tennessee? Like, this team is legit. Or are we shifting that focus to, hey guys, is Tennessee like, are they struggling a little bit? Like, are they, you know what I'm saying? Like that 3-run top of the 9th that helped Tennessee come back and win today. That 9th inning plays a huge factor in like perceptions of teams, because in the grand scheme of things, it's like, oh, Ole Miss lost 2 out of 3 at home against Tennessee, and Tennessee went on the road and won 2 out of 3 at number 7 Ole Miss. But it's almost like you were 3 outs away from changing that perspective entirely. Right? Does that make sense?
I think it's just a testament to the week in and week out in the SEC, how damn hard it is to win. I think that's all the perception, in my opinion, because I don't think anything different of Ole Miss. I don't think anything different of Tennessee. I think the only thing different I think of Tennessee is, even when they're struggling a little bit, they found a way to win. They found a way to go 2 and 3 on the road. So, I mean, that's all it is. I don't think anything different of Ole Miss, because they are who I thought they were. I think they're a really good team. I just don't think they're a top 5 team in the country. I think they're in that 6 to 15 range, anywhere you want to put them. I think they're a really good team. They're just not in the upper stratosphere. But Tennessee showed we struggled this weekend. We didn't play our best baseball. We still got out of Oxford with the series win.
I think you just proved my point about
my takeaway
perception thing.
No, I don't.
They went toe to toe with Tennessee, and like neither team showed a glaring weakness other than Tennessee's defense was horrible. Like, there was never a point where I was like, oh, this Tennessee team is way more talented than Ole Miss. Like, they were toe to toe, like pretty equal teams.
I see what you're saying, but I still don't think from day one, February 14th today, you can say that Ole Miss is perfectly equal with Tennessee. This weekend, sure you can, punch for punch, but I think when Tennessee's playing their best baseball, they are much better than Ole Miss.
Ben, I see what you're saying. I think they
have the better pitching, and they have the better 1 through 9.
It's the power of social media right now. The only reason you're saying they're better is because Tennessee won the national championship. Tennessee's in a lot of tweets. Tennessee like goes viral all the time. But when you actually look at just this year and the numbers themselves, you're like, oh, wait a second. Like, it's actually pretty balanced across the entire league as a whole. But the conversation around Tennessee is a little bit louder because people like telling that story more.
Yeah. So I don't want to be.
Man, my takeaway on Ole Miss, just I've seen them 3 times in person, and it just did happen to be opening day weekend. I thought the lineup was very competitive that entire weekend. What they lacked a little bit on the opening weekend was knowing their top arms from each other. And that's what I think I'm most impressed about this Ole Miss team. They have everybody who's thrown at least 15 innings this season, which means they have figured out where and when they're using these guys. Everybody that has thrown 15 innings, sub-5 ERA. In SEC play, that's damn good. The two guys that are above 5 innings that frequently get rolled out there, Maddox Riley, a senior who's been there, done that, was on that 2022 national championship team, and then what's his name? Will McCausland, who was one of the best mid-major pitchers in all of the country last year at St. Joe's. I think this pitching is good enough, and the lineup is competitive. I understand. I expect that series against Tennessee was about what I expected. I thought it was going to be very competitive. Tennessee takes 2 out of 3, but to me, Ole Miss showed that they're once again like a quality top 16 team. I just agree with Dimitri in the final statement of I don't think they're a top 5.
We're going to look back in a few weeks here, and I think Ole Miss is a 16-17 win SEC team with the schedule they have ahead. At South Carolina, Vanderbilt, at Oklahoma, at Mississippi State, Auburn. Like, it's not the end of the world. Like, they don't have to go to Texas. They don't have to play against Arkansas. Like, they've already played Arkansas this year. They don't have to play against Georgia. Like, it's a pretty manageable schedule the rest of the way. So they're 9-6 right now. I think they can win 8 games between South Carolina, Vanderbilt, South Carolina, Vanderbilt, Oklahoma, Mississippi State, and Auburn. Right? Like, that's 17 wins right there.
Definitely. Isn't it fun?
That's a national seed. That's a top 8 national seed if you're Ole Miss.
Yeah, I agree. Isn't it funny?
Or they could just totally like shit the bed and look awful and not even get to 12 wins. Like, who knows?
Baseball. All right. How about 2 national seeds that like are bona fide national seeds after what we saw in Athens this weekend? Arkansas and Georgia, that there were fireworks and there were clippable moments. It felt like in every 3 minutes today.
Yeah, that series was one of those where I never knew what was going to happen next. Like, it was like almost what you expected to happen did not happen. You're always guessing with those two teams. Like, for example, Arkansas, they come in on Friday and just absolutely torch Georgia's bullpen. They put up 10 runs in the last 3 innings to win 13-3. You're like, okay, Georgia's bullpen, trash, not very good. And you're like, okay, I'll expect Georgia's bullpen to be bad again the next day. Well, Georgia's bats come out on fire on Saturday, and then they have a comfortable lead. I forget what the score was, but then Arkansas makes it very interesting in the 8th and the 9th. And then today was pretty much the same thing. Arkansas hits back-to-back homers in the top of the 9th against Georgia's bullpen, and then they ended up playing 12 innings, and Georgia walks them off. But, like, what a competitive series. Other than those 10 runs, 7th, 8th, and 9th on Friday, I mean, it was back and forth all weekend. Very evenly matched teams, in my opinion.
Before Jack gives his thoughts and analysis on this series, I just want to state this is why I love being part of 11.7, by the way. Like, I was defeated this weekend by college baseball because I was covering games Friday, Saturday, and Sunday in person. And I was defeated by sports because the Masters was going on. But when I talk to guys that live and breathe college baseball and we're all splitting screens, this is what I cherish the most about being part of this group. So well done, Ben. Thank you for the catch.
Yep. Dude, no, it was. I'll put it to you this way: it wouldn't surprise me one bit if these two teams are facing off in the College World Series finals. Like, that final series, Georgia versus Arkansas College World Series finals, would not be shocking to me at one bit, because these teams are very hard to kill. Like, even whenever you beat them, they make it tough. Like, for example, Arkansas was impossible to kill this weekend with how they came back and scored runs. And then Georgia's standpoint, it's like, yeah, our bullpen's not good, but we're going to put 6 runs in the first 3 innings and make it tough for you. Like, we're gonna try to beat you early and often. So, look, Georgia wins the series. I think Georgia needed that series win way more than Arkansas did, especially after getting swept last weekend at Texas. But if you're an Arkansas fan, like, hey, this team's really good. Like going on the road and almost in position to sweep the series if a few things go your way. I think you got to be happy with it.
It was fun too. It felt like in a tennis match, like when you're watching on ESPN, like there's like break point, match point. There were like 6 different moments where we could have had that graphic where it was like Georgia down to their last strikes, Trey Phelps like gapping double to like tie a runner from first, like to keep the game alive. And then obviously my favorite moment, maybe the weekend, Slade Alford going 111 off the bat to left field. Like they've got so much juice up and down the lineup. But I think Brian Curley might be one of the most valuable players to his specific team in the country. Like you mentioned the struggles that they had, starters and out of the pen, like what he provides in like a utility standpoint, like he was really good. But man, Arkansas, I think it's funny too. Like the scare was, hey, they're gonna be okay offensively. Like I think their arms are gonna be really, really good this year. They lead literally every category offensively in the SEC right now, offensively, and they proved it this weekend. It was a nutty weekend.
Did you see where Jackson Finley today for Georgia? Also, he was a Georgia Tech Yellow Jacket last year, right?
I think so, right?
Jackson Finley?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so he's at Georgia now. He went 5 2/3 on the mound today as a starter. The longest outing for a Georgia starting pitcher all season.
Nuts.
Like, bro, you guys played freaking like Akron, I feel like. Didn't they? Like, it's not like you're playing an SEC schedule all year.
I didn't watch the game, but it was Leighton Finley who started.
Leighton
right?
Finley, not Jackson Finley. Yeah, but
okay,
same
you're
guy.
getting two guys confused. Leighton, no, two different guys. Leighton's been at Georgia. Aiden Vinatieri is the Georgia Tech starter that transferred to Georgia.
I did want to ask this, unless you have a thought there. I saw that stat. I tweeted about it, and I was like the down emoji. I was like, this is crazy stat for a team that's top 5 in the country. And then I immediately thought about our Riz God. Dimitri, as our pitching guru, dude, is that like a level of pressure when there comes to this idea of like, man, can we get one guy to give us some length? Or do you think that's like their strategy on the mound? Like, hey, we want to see a different guy every time through, because it feels nuts at this point in the season to have a guy go at least 6 innings of baseball.
I think it's a combination of they're analytically trying to match up, and they know when their guys are losing efficiency. But at the same time, if they had a guy that was truly efficient for 6-7 innings, they would do that. Absolutely, they would ride a guy longer. But they just don't have a guy to trust. I mean, Brian Zeldin today, I think I like him more and more every time I see him pitch. He was the guy that closed it out the last 3 innings. Him and Curley, I really like. But the problem is this pitching staff is walking too many people. They're going full count on too many guys. They're falling behind in too many counts. They're nasty. They're all nasty. So it makes me wonder, imagine if we had Arm Farm in Athens. Would Max Wiener make a difference in this pitching staff? I don't know what's going on. It's just they're just not consistent enough to get to 6-7 innings. Their pitch counts are so high. If you go watch, they just don't know how to do it. They don't have a guy that can just feel his way through 7 innings, 90 pitching. I mean, I think this Georgia team is
I'm taking a guess here. I would say that a team like Georgia just values stuff. If you have an arsenal of guys that just have elite stuff, I'm talking fastball with induced vertical breaks and the sliders and like everything, you're okay with a guy going 3 2/3 if he has max effort stuff and just avoiding barrels. And like, hey, we're going to piece this together rather than going to get a Sam Dutton from Auburn who's going to paint corners and change speeds and go 7 innings, right? Like, that would be my guess. Georgia just values stuff, and they want everybody who's on the mound to have their best stuff for as long as possible. And that might be 2 innings, that might be 4. And then once your stuff starts ticking down, you're out of the game.
I have a question for you guys. Wes Johnson is a pitching guy, right?
Correct.
Yes.
Their staff, I'm looking at it right now. Will Coggin, he was a position player. Brock Bennett, position player. Nick Amorati, position player. And then they have Kevin Knight, who's director of player development and stuff. They don't have a pitching coach on their website.
Dude, Dimitri, you're all over it. I think Wes, he's learning. First off, first time as a D1 college head coach. He's had plenty of years as an assistant everywhere. Looking at that guy's track record, he hadn't been able to stay in one spot for more than 3 years, it seemed like. But he's learning on the job. And you look at the last two Georgia teams, what has been their weakness? Oh, it's your head coach's track record, background, the entire thing that he's built his career off of. I think in this offseason, you have to self-evaluate and say, hey, I think it's time for another voice to help me out because I have my hands in every area, every facet of my staff right now and my team. Let's get a guy to solely focus on this pitching staff and iron down who's doing what in that bullpen where you're not able to see.
It's tough to do though, Noah, because what's he gonna do? Get rid of one of his assistant coaches that has brought Georgia back to the glory days?
Then it's also easier said than that too, because when you're Georgia,
it's not his
and
assistant's
this
fault.
no, it's easier said than that because when you're Georgia and your offense is this good, and your head coach is a pitching coach, what's going to happen to the offensive coordinators and or hitting coaches? They're going to get plucked, right? People want a dab of that success. So attrition happens naturally when you're a good team.
Yeah.
They need a pitching. I think Wes Johnson needs a right-hand pitching man. At Georgia Tech, they've got 3 guys on staff that deal with the pitching alone, not just data analytics. They're actually in the bullpen. They're actually former pitchers. Georgia Tech's pitching staff has done a full 180. They are way better because they have put so much emphasis into pitching development. Georgia, I think, needs to get more because Wes Johnson knows how to do the pitching, but he's the CEO of a company. He's not 110% focused on pitching. He's focused on the whole program from a Hawkeye view. He needs a pitching guy.
I think we might be crossing the line there, guys. We don't know what's going on at Georgia. We can make assumptions, but
I don't know. I don't know why you're saying it like you're scared. Because I'm looking at their thing. It's Will Coggin, offensive. Brock Bennett, offensive. Nick Amorati, offensive. Nobody in their 5 or their 4 coaches is a pitching guy besides Wes Johnson. So it's like a head coach in football said, "I'm going to run the offense." How often does that work out? Not that often.
Bingo. I mean, Dimitri's all over it.
I think I side with Ben here. Think
about it. Stuff wise, though, their guys are still elite.
Yeah.
Every SEC program has elite guys all over their bullpen. I mean, maybe besides South Carolina, Missouri,
nobody has a Brian Curley on their staff throwing 100 with a nasty slider.
Okay, right, but pitching is not just about throwing as hard as you can and then spinning something. It's about throwing strikes, but getting ahead. It's about knowing how to.
I'm telling you, I think they have a different philosophy than that.
That's why I asked the question. This is I think they have all the right pieces. That was.
Do you guys not remember the first? Do you not remember the first months of the season? It was not a strategy thing. They were just very bad at starting pitchers.
Yeah. Well, but again, I'm giving credit where credit's due. You were all over this team, right? You've been all over this team from the jump. I think after I used that question more so as after this weekend, I'm not only do I think this team can go to Omaha, I think they can win the damn thing. They find a way to win in really fun ways. Obviously, that Texas matchup was weird. It was a different ballpark, weird matchup for them. I more so asked that question because I was curious, do you think this is strategically a part of their mess? They're throwing a lot more guys than most teams. Are you backing off not to say you're backing off your statement. Do you think this team has enough to win in Omaha?
I think this team reminds me of 2023 Oklahoma. Unbelievable offense. And what's his name made himself $1 million in the 2023 postseason. What's his name, Ben? Come on.
Cade Horton.
Georgia's going to have a guy come out of nowhere. And he's just going to be a guy that we've seen all year, but we never put our eyeballs on him. This is the dude. Brian Curley, we know who he is. Somebody out of that Georgia pitching staff is going to make a name for themselves in May and June. We don't know who it's going to be yet.
I want to throw a challenge flag. I just looked at Georgia's last 12 SEC games. If you take out the 10-run loss against Arkansas on Friday, where Like, they gave up 7 runs in the 9th, and, like, those guys aren't their pitchers. They've given up 6, 6, 4, 7, 5, 6, 7, 1, 4, 2, 7 in their last 12 games. That's not terrible. They're going to
No,
score
it's
more
not
than
bad at
that.
all. It's not bad at all. But
You are, though, picking a sample size of, they should be better. They should be figuring out this stuff as the season goes on. A larger sample size, you can look at the 2023-24 season and the 2024-25 season and see that Georgia is in the bottom half of the SEC when it comes to pitching.
I was high in Georgia because I thought they were talented enough across the board. I thought their lineup was one of the best in the country. That's why I picked them to win the SEC. But their pitching has made them this far. But you know how it is when it gets to the postseason time.
Right, so I ask you,
flaws get exposed.
So I ask you you was past tense. Are you still not high on Georgia, even though they're coming off one of the best?
I still love my SEC.
Still love, okay. Because I was more so riding this high of like, man, like Arkansas's got some stars offensively, dude. Like
the best line. Georgia's got the best lineup in the SEC, I think.
Oh my God. And like we were questioning this offense. And the Eloy brother, I'd like to say this too before we move off this series and jump into some others, because I know we've gone long on the SEC. Arkansas admin, round of applause with the Augusta National graphics all week. I just absolutely salivating all weekend long with them. Mix in an Eloy brother, freaking walk off, like, oh, just the pimp jobs, the camera work from the dugout, plus the Augusta Nationals graphics. Magical work this week.
Dude, get a napkin. Wipe it off. Get a napkin and wipe that thing off.
Creamy, let me tell you.
Yeah, I think maybe this past 10 minutes talking about Georgia's all wrong, and they're just an unorthodox program or pitching staff, the way they're going to operate. But I still think they need a pitching guy. Like their pitching is too talented to be the way it is. It feels messy. It just feels a very messy product that is getting the job done. That it's going to hurt them in the postseason. I'm telling you, that 2 seed that comes in, that pesky mid-major 3 seed, someone is going to pick them, pluck them in the butt, and they're going to go into the loser's bracket, and they're going to like that offense going to carry them. I'm telling you,
you're lucky you've been right way more than I have this year, because I would be calling the challenge flag again on you, but you've been right all year. So I'll tip a cap and concede here.
Jack.
But wait, what would you throw?
Don't worry about the length of the pod.
What would you throw challenge flag on here? I'm just curious.
I don't think it's messy at all. My inference is
only have 2 starts that are longer than 5 innings isn't messy.
It's 2025. Like, it's normal now.
Yeah, I like that. They're winning. Who cares what it looks like? My whole question was predicated on, like, is it strategy or is it they're using what they have? So
let me say, wait, I just got an idea. It's more impressive what they're doing. What are you guys talking about?
Yeah.
They're winning games with not Paul Skeens throwing 8 innings every game. They're piecing it together. That's more impressive.
Well, Ben, that the entire thing though is, where can this team improve? They're a top 5 team. It's already impressive. How can this team raise the bar? There's so much room to grow, especially on the pitching staff, where that's your head coach's background. Come on.
Ben, think about it. When we think of Tennessee, do you think, oh my God, this team could be so much better? When you think of Texas, oh my God, this team could be so much better. When you think of Georgia, you're like, holy shit, this team is competing with everybody, and they can still be that much better. That's the whole point of it. Georgia is so close to being the best team.
Hold on. But here, hold on. Let me propose something that I don't know, Ben, if this puts a hole in our argument or if it helps it. I'm not just saying this because I saw him in person. Statistically speaking, Blake Gillespie of Charlotte baseball has been one of the best Friday night starters in the country. He has logged 8+ innings in 6 of his starts this year, including a no-hitter. He was a Georgia.
What school did he come from?
He was a Georgia Bulldog last year. So do they have?
Dude, Stetson's Friday night guy is a
The
Georgia
question is,
Bulldog as
do
well.
they have the pieces that could do this, or are they going, hey, we're going to piecemeal this in 3-4 inning bits because that's what our numbers say? Like, I think it does kind of help Ben and I's strategy, where it's like they have these dogs, but we're going to utilize him in a way that Bells helps the Bulldogs win. I don't know.
Can I ask you this then? Why did Brian Curley, and by the way, we got to stop talking. We got to move on to the mid-major. I'm tired of talking the SEC. I hate talking as much about it. But here's the thing. Hold on, Noah.
Don't worry about the length of the pod. That's why you brought in the boys.
Focus on the
I'll
road.
clip everything
Focus
up.
on the
We're
road.
going to timestamp it. We're going to put out SEC stuff. We're going to be
I
good.
like it.
We're going to be
Timestamp
good.
Noah. Let's
Hold
go.
on. Why all of a sudden, the moment Brian Curley came from the bullpen to starting, he all of a sudden became their most trusted guy and going the longest? Because they had faith in him. I could be totally wrong. It could be a strategy thing, but I'm very confident that if their numbers show these guys cannot go through the lineup 2 or 3 times effectively. Whether it's a pitch count issue, whether it's a 2-pitch guy, a 3-pitch, who knows what it is. I just don't think they have 3 guys they can trust Friday, Saturday, Sunday to go 5+ innings and trust them with a man on second and third, 2 outs in that 5th inning. They're going to depend there. Maybe if they have a guy that they truly 100% trust and he gets over, because that's the hardest inning as a starter, getting through that 5th inning. You get through it, you can go 6, 7, 8. They're just not getting through that. And if the coach is not allowing them, who knows what it is? I'm done talking about this. Fuck.
I think this has been one of our most informative pods. I think a lot of listeners will enjoy the deep depth in this. So I think it's fine. Just keep going.
Okay.
Well, let's transition there, Noah. The last SEC series I want to talk about is the one that you had flops on the ground for. Kentucky hosting #1 Texas. We talked about it on Thursday where we thought this was a spot where Texas could trip up, and they almost did. Like Kentucky held their own and they won a game. They didn't get swept. But tell us more about this series, and I'll give you 6 minutes to talk about it. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, I'm not as good as Jack. I think as recapping everything that I saw. I get tunnel vision and I just lock into the game and kind of forget it afterwards. But in this series, Texas won game 1. Like that game was a completely different game than the final 2 games of this series. Kentucky out-hit Texas in game 2 and game 3. Kentucky got the short end of the stick when it came to umpires in the second game. That's kind of where the story begins for me watching the series. Texas won the first 16 innings of this series when it comes to game 1 and in game 2. 6th inning, you get Ethan Hindle up at the bat. He, coming into the game, was tied for 20th in most hit by pitches per player in the entire nation. He gets drilled in the shoulder. The umpire calls him out because there was 2 strikes because the umpire said that he leaned into over the plate and got hit. Ethan Hindle, in my humble point of view, was a statue, did not move. That call was made because of his reputation that he has of getting hit by pitches. He got hit by a pitch in game 3. He's now tied for 7th with the most in the country, okay? Anyways, Nick Mingione runs out on the field, arguing with the umpire. Momentum of that game flips. From there on out, Texas tallied 3 hits in that game. 3 hits. It went 15 innings. Kentucky, in the 9th inning, guess who comes up to the plate? Ethan Hindle. The kid that was standing at the plate gets Mingione thrown out of the game. 3-2, they're down by 1. Ball finds the barrel. Bomb. Game tied. Momentum of the game completely flipped. And bar you, like Kentucky had been guys on base in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning. Or not the 9th, but the 7th and 8th leading up to that point, right? The entire crowd against the umpires and Texas in this momentum completely flips. Simon Gregerson on the bump comes into the game with an ERA in the 7s, 4+ shutty, like no traffic whatsoever, smooth sailing, impressive as hell from the kid. And our guy Devin Burks, Pencil Talk Pod alum from last season. We got him back. He's going to be on the Pencil Talk Pod this week for the midweek. Scores the first run of the game from a double that he had in the first inning. To begin the 15th inning, he gets on base. I think it was a walk. Kentucky, I mean, they're showing bunt 18 at-bats of this game in 15 innings. It's nuts. It's a completely different style of baseball. And I'll get to the comparisons of these two squads. They bunt. Galvan, who had a great offensive series, throws the ball away. It was tough because the runner was right on the line. Tough play to make, right? Devin Burke's 15 innings behind the plate. He talked about this in the pencil talk about. He had nothing left, just all gas, all guts. Gets to home, slides in head first, and it wasn't even a close play. Running around with their heads cut off. Game 2 was fantastic for as little action as there was. I'm telling you, outstanding game. My takeaway from this thing, you got Texas, the bluest of blue bloods. They looked the part, man. When every single guy 1 through 9 can do damage. You look at Kentucky, and I was texting you guys this. Man, it's just an incredible coaching job from Nick Mingione, because, man, their 3-hitter, Patrick Herrera, who has kind of, not excelled through the first 2 years of this program. He was a Northwestern transfer, I believe. He's batting 3 this year. And he was a guy that, didn't get a ton of at-bats last season. When he's in the squat in a batting stance, he's 5'9". Like, that's not an SEC 3-hitter. But even more to his credit and Mingione's credit, he's batting over 300. It was 333, I think. And every time he comes up the bat, the entire stadium does like this whole, like, they're into his walk-up song. When he steps up to the bat, it's finest. Game 3, Ruger Riojas, after 15 innings of bullpen, comes out and gives them 7 strong. Gigantic, humongous for Texas baseball. X factor to that win. Will Gasparito got hot once again in Game 3. Ryan Galvan, like I said, huge series. Texas gets the win. Nick McKay and Nick McKay and Ben Cleaver looked great, but it was Kentucky's perseverance in Game 2, Texas with big hits in Game 3.
Right. And, dude, I thought Texas was going to be toast Game 3 because anybody who was anybody in that bullpen threw on that 15-inning game. And they weren't stress-free innings by any means, but look, I think – do what? I'm sorry. What'd you say? Oh, he muted himself. But, yeah, I watched that whole 15-inning game, and, like, I just kept sitting there thinking, well, is one team going to change their strategy or not? Because it felt like Texas had a rhythm of the same – it was like the same exact pitch sequence for every batter from the 8th inning to the 15th inning. Like, I could almost predict what pitch was coming next because they knew that they kept Kentucky off base. They're not going to hit a home run or like an extra base hit or whatever. Like, they're hitting for singles. And then if they did have somebody on base, it's fine. Like, they knew that Kentucky was going to sack bunt and Texas was going to pick up the ball and throw it to first base and get an out. So, man, the styles of baseball
By the way,
were
their bunt defense
very
was
polarizing.
impeccable this weekend.
Guys, we have spent
on how much prep they did. Dude, they picked off on sack bunts the lead runner. I think it was 3 or 4 times in the last 2 games of that series.
Texas was rooting for them to sack bunt until the final play where right fielder didn't back him up, but whatever.
We have spent 58 minutes and 58 seconds talking about the damn SEC. Move on.
Yes,
Good, man. We're in no rush. No rush today.
What do you mean no rush? 58 minutes talking about the one conference is insane. I know it's the best conference in the league.
We do this every year where there's always one podcast that lasts an hour and 45 or 2 hours. Like, it's fine.
This is what happens, though, when we choose to go old school style and go in depth on the entire conference. And we're talking about standings. We're talking about the best series of the weekend. It happens. That was the show that we decided on, right?
Yeah, Dimitri, what part would you have cut out? Like, what series would you have cut out there? We talked about them all. They all deserve to be talked about.
I wouldn't have talked about Lane Pulmonary for an hour. I wouldn't have talked about Georgia's pitching staff for an hour. I wouldn't have talked about.
Both of those were your fault.
I know.
No, they
Both of those were
weren't.
your fault.
You guys baited me into those.
Yeah, that was. I can't. I mean, if Instagram promoted long form clips, it'd be 6.5 minutes of you talking about pulmonary kicking.
You baited me into it. You baited me into it.
Well,
I want to talk about Western Kentucky. I want to talk about TCU showing Kansas, welcome to the big boy table. You can't sit here anymore. I want to talk about those things.
Hey, I love that. Let's start right there with TCU against Kansas because it's exactly what I said would happen.
You did.
Kansas was the hot, trendy team in the Big 12, and TCU said, hold on, you come to our place, we're going to sweep you. And that's what they did.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Kansas was going to be a different year for them. Their lineup was good enough finally. I thought my heart said Kansas, and TCU said you cannot sit at the big boy table. Yeah, you're not ready for this. And they swept them right back to Lawrence, Kansas. And now the Kansas State series next weekend has lost a little bit of shine. I still think it's a great series. I think it's two very good teams because Kansas State responded well after losing the series to I don't remember who they lost. It was a bad series loss, but they responded well.
They got swept last week by Oklahoma State. That's what it was. And then they lose Friday by 1 million to UCF.
But they ended up winning the series, which was a big-time response. So I think that series is going to tell us who wants them more at this point. I don't think it's going to tell us who's a really, really good team. I think they're both good teams, but they're not great teams. And I don't think either one of them is hosting at this point. But I think it's going to be good for Big 12 depth for the other team. I think it's going to be a good series. Winner is going to be a little bit better. But yeah, Kansas is not ready for the big-time moment.
No, and like when you look back, and this is nothing against Kansas. It's been a great year. They're 25-10 or something like that this year. But you look through their Big 12 schedule, and it's like Baylor, Arizona State, where they actually lost 2 out of 3 against Arizona State. And then who is it? UCF and Oklahoma State, like kind of beaten up at the bottom of the conference. And then you go and play a team like TCU on the road, and it's just different. It just hits different when you play in Fort Worth, especially in April. So, look, I think the Big 12 gets disrespected by the national media because the conference is good. Like the teams are good, fun to watch, but like you're not going to see these. Dude, I don't know if is TCU even going to be ranked this week. I don't think they were ranked last week, were they?
I think they're going to be fringe 25.
But like that's the problem, right? Like they're 12-4 in Big 12 play. They're clearly the best team in the conference.
They're 2-2 against quad one. That's the problem. The best team in the Big 12 only had 4 quad one games. And 3 of them I think are against Southern Miss. No, quad one. It was a home series against Southern Miss. They're not top 25. Yeah. Anyway,
and they actually lost 2 to Southern Miss.
Yeah, they did. They lost.
Yeah. But the point is that I think Oklahoma State being bad right now is not helping. It's just the Big 12. It's just not enough marquee game, big time series game where you're getting those high end quadrant one wins and stuff. So that's why TCU I think is not getting respected. But we'll see what happens. But the Big 12 always shows up in May. Their conference does some weird thing where they just boost up at the end of the year.
Dimitri is hitting.
It can be different.
He's hitting the nail on the head right there. I mean, last year we had 2 Big 12 3 seeds go to the Super Regionals, right? The depth of this conference is very underrated. The top teams, I don't know, like last year, your host out of the Big 12 was, gosh, who even was it? I can't even think off the top of my head. No, Texas didn't host last year. It was Oklahoma, and they dropped it to UConn. Yeah. So, I mean, just the top seeds out of this conference, we kind of have trouble how quality they are. But when you get deeper and deeper into the Big 12, you have to respect it because we've seen, both Kansas State and West Virginia threaten to the bitter end of their super regionals.
Yeah, we've done
I still don't think enough people are talking about West Virginia this year. They've only lost 4 games all year.
Dude, they're 30-4 and they have 18 road wins.
Yeah. It's crazy the amount of disrespect they're getting. Like obviously their schedule is not the toughest. Let's see what their strength of schedule is. It's
Their schedule's not tough, and then the thing against them
Well,
is they lost a home
non-conference-
series to Arizona. They lost 2 of 3.
yeah. Their non-conference strength of schedule is 257, and then strength of schedule as a whole is 146.
But you have to look at the intent to schedule too, because they scheduled 3 road series to begin. You can't control how good Jacksonville's going to be, and then the 2, I think one of them was a Kentucky school, one was a Tennessee school, and neither one of them have really panned out. It's unfortunate.
I mean, Jacksonville, Lipscomb, and Queens is a pretty brutal. But here's the thing: Lipscomb could randomly one year be really good, and that could have ended up being a good road series. Jacksonville is always half decent. Queens brutal, but I mean, Kennesaw probably their toughest one, and they're not good this year. So yeah,
And
I
they
think
had their hands full against Kennesaw too.
yeah, but I mean, their Big 12 schedule had been Arizona, BYU, Utah, Houston. Not great. So
Yeah.
but I don't know how good West Virginia is yet, but 30-4 is damn impressive.
You got to
know
rank
something
that.
on the other end of the spectrum in the Big 12. This is actually I'm about to laugh out loud. In conference, Texas Tech is 7-8, like pretty respectable, right? Dude, their overall record is 11-21, which means they've only won 4 games outside of conference play. And those 4 games are 1 against Irvine, 1 against Illinois, 1 against UC San Diego, and 1 against Tarleton State. Now, granted, they do have the number 2 strength of schedule in the country and number 5 non-conference strength of schedule, but dude, Texas Tech only having 11 wins and it's April 14th. Crazy.
I mean, road series
Where's that RPI at? Out of curiosity.
3 against Irvine, that Las Vegas Classic,
91.
Illinois, Texas, Washington, at Grand Canyon. They played a hell of a non-conference schedule. So maybe Texas Tech is going to be that team that comes out of nowhere and wins the Big 12 tournament and makes a run. Who knows? But 11 wins is wild.
But the thing with Texas Tech is their losses aren't pretty. They're putting up football scores against teams.
Yeah. I mean, who would you say? Okay, give me your top 3 Big 12 teams.
Oh, that's easy. Arizona, West Virginia, TCU.
You think West Virginia is better than Arizona State?
Hell yeah.
Interesting. You think they're better than Kansas State too?
Definitely.
Interesting.
Watch
I think
it,
Kansas
watch
State
it.
or Arizona State are right there with West Virginia.
If you sit down and watch a West Virginia game, though, like they're a lot of fun. They've got really fun pieces, and then I know Noah's going to want to talk about Cincinnati a little bit. They do play a very similar style of baseball where because they pitch and defend so well, and their offense is just good enough, and that they live and die by their identity. They can win a lot of games that are maybe they're a little bit less talented at each position. Then.
Yeah, like
Ben, you were so high on Arizona State not even 3 weeks ago.
yeah, I mean,
That
look,
bullpen, man.
Noah got to see. So yeah, Noah got to see them play in person this past weekend against Cincinnati. You were there. You flipped between Cincinnati and Kentucky, but tell us what
Yep.
you thought about what you thought about Arizona State and Cincinnati.
So when you think of Cincinnati, I want you to think of Kentucky out of the SEC. It's the exact same identity. Lovingly, Cincinnati fans have coined this team as they play Bishop ball. And I was able to get Jordan Bishop, the head coach, on Pencil Talk. I asked him for his own definition of Bishop ball because me following him, I'm a huge fan. He was at Central Michigan for years, and I know 11.7 gigantic fans of Bishop ball as well. He goes, we play with a ton of energy. They play with a ton of speed. They hit for power, and they're gonna play at 100% effort. And that's what you're getting out of Cincinnati. Now, defensively, they have to get better because that was the Achilles heel of last year's team. They made, I think it was 3 errors early in that game against Arizona State, the one that I was at. They fall down early. Nathan Taylor has closer energy to him. He's a Friday guy for Cincinnati. He's local too, so that's great news for Cincy in today's world of transfer portal and whatnot. But he's different. Goes out and gets the first 2 outs very easy of this game. Strikeout, weak ground out to the first baseman. would have gotten out of the first inning unscathed. Error by second baseman. It was a couple unfortunate plays by Cincy's second baseman in this game. But, that snowballed into 4 first-inning runs. Arizona State only scored 7 runs the entire game. Cincinnati put up 8 runs in the final 2 innings of their at-bats in this thing, all against Arizona State's bullpen. Arizona State's Friday guy, Ben Jacobs, who we love at 11.7. He didn't have his best stuff. He battled through it, though. I think he stranded 8 runners on base in this one. Really, really, even though it didn't have his A+ stuff, impressive outing from Jacobs. But this Cincinnati team, man, they're kind of like Kentucky, where they're going to show bunt a bunch. There's some pullback at swings. There's gonna be some. They turn a bunch of walks into stolen bases. You give up 1 free base, they're going to turn it into 2, man.
Let me ask you this: do you think Arizona State is good or not?
They have good pieces. I think that bullpen's not good enough.
That's all
they are. Yeah, man. It didn't pass the eye test to me, unfortunately.
You know who that sounds like? You know who that sounds like, Noah? 2024 West Virginia, who made it to a super regional.
It does. It does. Yeah, you're not wrong in that short assessment and trying comparison there.
I can't believe that West Virginia team survived that Arizona regional, because that was what, Dallas Baptist, West Virginia.
It was the regional of death.
Yeah, Grand Canyon, right?
Yeah. Like, just finishing up on Cincinnati, Carrington Cross is the straw that stirs the drink. If he's not getting the big hits, because Friday, everything outside, he had 2. He was talking about how he didn't like his approach because that's just not him. He gets out on a walk to begin the gigantic rally, the 6th, 7th, and 8th inning, where they scored, I think it was 9 runs. On the walk, scores that first run, then comes up later on in the game, and it was the 8th inning. They are, I think, down by 1. He legs out an infield single, and he's not the niftiest of foot, just absolutely gigantic. And then games 2 and games 3, he was back to his normal self. He bats first to get the most ABs on this squad. And yeah, that guy is everything to Cincinnati baseball. Gigantic fan of Carrington Cross.
So overall, what are we thinking about the Big 12? Are they going to make noise? Are they a postseason noise-making conference, or are they going to be one of those? Just like I'm trying to figure out what the Big 12 is going to do.
You put the thought on my mind, Dimitri. I'm sorry to go back one more time, but Cincinnati's only been to the NCAA tournament 2 times, I think, in the last 30 years. Bishel made it apparent to me that they need people out there. They're playing good ball. They're fighting for an NCAA tournament appearance. And Arizona State, first time the program had ever played them in college baseball history. And he said the attendance wasn't good enough. Oklahoma State comes to town after Easter that weekend. Be there. Cincinnati baseball is good baseball.
I know Bishel. He filled your pockets. How much did he pay you?
You are now a propaganda right arm.
Dude, I'm a sucker for the coaches that do more with less, man. Both Mingione and Bishel.
No, you're a pencil talk reporter. You're learning the ways well.
Oh my God!
They could sell me a used car, man, and I'd drive off the lot like I brought a brand new Mustang.
Pencil talk proud sponsor.
It all makes so much sense now. No wonder why Jack, it's got freaking shit dripping down his chin every weekend after whatever school he visits and talks so highly about them. Noah, same thing. Now we've got a Cincinnati fan on the podcast. Jack is a fan of every school in the SEC that he's visited. It all makes so much sense now. You're
Let's confront
Hey, Dimitri, I hate to inform you, but I've been a Cincinnati fan ever since he got that job. It wasn't just this weekend.
No. You're right. You're a propaganda arm now, just like Jack is for Tennessee.
And if I If I was to
Whatever,
get down to
how-
Clemson at all in my career as a 11.7 and Pencil Talk correspondent, I'd be drooling over Clemson too.
Texas A&M could be 5-40, and Jack would still say, "I still believe in them."
Yeah,
Tennessee could be 3-60, and you'd be like, "Dude, I still believe in them."
let's clear the air. Whatever is drizzling on my chin is the Kmart version, because whoever's filling our pockets it's still doing it at a very much so garbage man salary roll. So like, I got no problem telling you where my heart lies. It's more so sipping the Kool-Aid and believing it once you see it in person. But yeah, you're probably right. I definitely would, Dimitri.
Jack's going to show up. Jack's going to show up on next podcast, and he's going to be talking about Binghamton baseball while he's driving a 2025 Cadillac. And
Hey,
Binghamton's
next
gonna be like, "Yeah,
weekend.
we got 70 million donated. Jack, here's a quick milli."
I have said
Next
this-
weekend, I'm going to be talking about Wright State baseball to you guys. You better believe it.
Yeah. Here's the deal. Easily bribed. Everyone kept telling me to stop saying that word. Bribery is key.
Hey, Noah, I don't want to rain on your parade, but I'm going to transition this into the Big Ten real quick. Sorry, your Maryland Terrapins couldn't beat Oregon. You were so confident.
They
about
stole a game. I told you they don't sweep. They took the second.
No, you said they were going to win the series, and I convinced you that was not going to happen.
No, I was like, they're live. I didn't say they were going to win. My
Noah,
series, my pick to win was Kentucky. My pick to win was Kentucky.
Noah, I think you said, "Watch out! I've had this series circled since the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
The
I did.
cross-country road trip. Maryland's going to shock the world. Blah blah blah."
That's
Yeah.
exactly
Yeah.
how he said it.
You're right. You're not wrong.
You said it, and I'm sorry to break it to you, pal, but they've lost 2 out of 3. The goal is to win 2 out of 3 to win the series, and they didn't do that. But point is, you see, I mean, guys, Iowa is number 1 in the Big Ten.
That's insane.
Iowa.
Yeah, did you see
Losing-
Oberhofer?
Obermuller.
Unbelievable. Obermuller.
Dude, did you
Obermuller.
see their tweet after they clinched the series? They were like, Iowa corn's better than Nebraska corn. Dimitri, that's shit talking the Big Ten, baby.
I'm not shit
I
talking.
feel like I've seen that before.
What?
Oop, got him.
Wait, what?
No, I'm just saying, like, Dimitri was like, no, I hate to rain on your parade, but we're gonna shift to the Big Ten. And then he shit on me, and like I think
You
he
have
thought like
shit
it was
for
my
rain
conference.
About your Big Ten. No, I thought
We
you were a
value
Big
our
Ten
corn,
guy.
and Iowa thinks their corn's better than Nebraska's corn.
No, Iowa has played Rutgers, Michigan State, Ohio State, Minnesota, Northwestern, Nebraska, all arguably the worst teams in the Big Ten
I know.
this year.
But hey, they win games. That's
Hey,
all that
who
matters.
gets- how about this? Who gets more teams to a super regional this year? The Big Ten? Or
UCLA is the only shot for the Big Ten to host.
who gets more-
Whatever other conference you said, Jack, it's going to be that other conference. The Big Ten, I don't know. It's just Oregon. I really do think that.
Hand up. I said
Maybe
Oregon was
UCLA.
the top 5 team in the country at one point this year. I remember saying it, and that is probably one of my worst takes of the year. Oregon is not even close to the top 20 right now.
I love UCLA.
But
Wait,
hand up.
why don't you like Oregon? Hold on. What's up with that?
What do you mean I don't like them?
You said Oregon's not even close?
They're not a top 20 team in the country right now, I don't think. They're not playing like it. I mean, like
We'll find out this coming up week, Oregon, UCLA.
Yeah, wait, then this week? No, yeah. This weekend. I mean, Oregon, they just don't know how to sweep. They're not good enough to sweep. They lost the series to Ohio State.
He's coming around on that.
On what? What am I coming around?
Last weekend, you pushed back on me saying that they can't sweep. They can't sweep. And then you go, oh, they swept on the road at UCLA.
The top 5 team in the country was sweep through the Big Ten. Let's be honest. But, anyways, UCLA, Oregon, that'll tell us a lot. I think Oregon's good. I just don't think they're a top 5 team, and I said that in the beginning of the year. Anyway, from a hosting standpoint, Ben, what do you mean? Oregon 57. They have a lot of work to do.
I didn't disagree with that. No, I don't even know the RPI right now, but it seems like UCLA is their only shot. Like, unless somebody goes crazy, like a USC or a Michigan, I know, still has a low RPI, right?
No, Oregon's got a better shot.
And Michigan, no shot.
Oregon's got a better shot.
Like I'm a shout out to Michigan though. They played their 5,000th game in program history this weekend.
Anyway, Ben, let's do this. I'm going to share the mid-major top 25, and we're just going to build off of that conversation-wise.
Well, we haven't talked about the ACC yet, fellas.
That's crazy.
Oh, good Lord. Okay, stop sharing.
Let's go ACC and then we'll go mid-major. Deal?
Deal.
Go ahead.
Well, I think that there was a couple teams that made statements this weekend in the ACC. First one being NC State. Well, first of all, we got to take a step back. I'm 99% sure.
No, change your
that
name.
we were talking
That's
about
just
NC State. Oh, just don't even worry about that right now. Let him eat his Raisin Canes right now, and just let's ignore him.
Oh, that sounds so good.
We were talking about how NC State and Louisville was going to be a great pitching matchup, 3-game series, and they scored, I think, 100 runs total in the 3 games. and it was unbelievable. The ball was flying in Raleigh. But we kind of said it also last Thursday that the winner of this series should be taken seriously, not only in the as an NCAA tournament team, but like a potential host with what both teams have left on their schedule. So. The games were as followed: 13-11, 25-8, and 11-1. NC State wins 2 out of 3. Completely just shocked me with the runs being scored. I was expecting a lot of 7 to 5 games at max. No, we're getting football scores. So
I meant to ask you that in the group text. Why were you expecting such a low scoring series? Louisville has been hitting.
No, but Louisville also has been pretty good pitching wise this year, if I'm not mistaken. Most of I'm looking at their schedule now. It's not as great as I thought. But when no, that's NC State I'm looking at. NC State's been all right on the mound. Let's look at Louisville.
Louisville has Patrick Forbes and Peter Michael, who have been great this year. That's why.
Yeah, when they played against North Carolina, they only gave up 13 runs in a weekend, which isn't that for 3 games. That's really good. They've been pretty bad. 8-5-1, 14-10. Not good. Never mind. Louisville's pitching is not as good as I thought. I have North Carolina brain, where that series against North Carolina, I watched and their pitchers look great there. So I was wrong. Hand up, whatever.
North Carolina had done a 180 from the beginning of the year. That little 2-week stretch where they lost to Stanford and who else? They lost another series to somebody, and now they look like a top 10 team again. Jason DeCaro was phenomenal today. That's a good Sunday guy to put up there with Ruger Riojas.
Well, he was their Friday guy for a while, right?
Yep.
DeCaro, yeah,
season.
Yeah.
So I mean. And they've got a weapon in the bullpen, what's his name? He closed it out today. Got the rec specs.
Is it McKay?
The freshman, it's like McCoskey, right?
Yeah, MCK something.
Yeah,
they beat UNC beat the crap out of Wake Forest.
This is kind of what I've said about the ACC all year, though. They North Carolina in particular, just got star power all over the place. Gavin Gallagher was fantastic this weekend. That's the third baseman that we've expected for them all season long. But Wake Forest was the talk of the town last week, taking down Florida State in Tallahassee. And then they got boat raced this weekend. And I really like Wake Forest this year, but it's been so cannibalistic that I have – to Ben's point, I'll watch a series and I'll fall in love with a certain team. And then the next week I go, Virginia Tech's another great example. Dog this weekend, just taking on a walk. And they've been fantastic the last 2 weeks. I don't know if it's a level of inconsistency or cannibalistic where I can't trust anybody because of the toxic environment of how each week is just a totally different monster. But the only team – now maybe joined by another. Clemson's been head and shoulders better than everyone, but the Danny Hall storyline is becoming too good to be true, right? How good has Georgia Tech been?
they've been unbelievable. And like this is the first season where they don't play Georgia in that 3-game series. Dude, I wish they would have played just so I could gauge like how good this team actually is. But like on paper, they've back-to-back ACC sweeps. They should have won the series a couple weeks ago against Clemson. They gave up 2 runs in the top of the 9th, and I think both games they lost were 1-run games to Clemson.
And then Georgia Tech blew them out in their win. It was impressive.
Yeah, and they blew them out. So like right now, Georgia Tech has sweeps over Notre Dame, Cal, and Stanford, which like I get it. They're not the greatest teams, but the sweep in conference, 3 opponents is really good. And then they have a series win against Pitt and a series win against Virginia Tech. They lose 2 out of 3 against Clemson. So, yeah, I'm all in on this Georgia Tech team.
Yeah, the schedule is not as beefy and good as you want it to be all in on a team. But I think this Georgia Tech team has shown enough to be like, hey, this team is legit. But I just want to go back real quick. That circle of death there, Virginia Tech sweeps Wake. Wake curb stomps Florida State sweep Virginia Tech. This little circle of life, death, whatever you want to call it,
Wrong shape. Wrong shape.
The,
You could have said triangle.
Yeah.
Triangle of death is a real thing.
Yeah, the triangle of death, the circle of life, whatever you want to call it.
That's in Fenway Park, isn't it?
I think that's the epitome of the ACC this year. Outside of Clemson at the way tippy top, I mean, Florida State, I think, is up there. But overall, the ACC is just going to beat up on each other, and I think it's going to be a really tough read when people start analyzing regionals and how good some of these teams are. I think it can be difficult.
Yeah.
We didn't watch this series, but did Miami sweep Duke this weekend?
No, they won 2 out of 3.
But still, like, what is up with Duke? Just a roller coaster this year.
I mean, a trip to South Florida is not that easy. It's hard to go down there and win.
That's the nicest thing that Demetrius ever said about Miami on this show.
Yeah.
Hey,
wow. The ACC has 10 teams at 500 or better.
No.
I mean, they have 4 right at 500. Wake Forest, Virginia Tech, Duke, and Virginia are all 9-9.
I've decided that the ACC, I'm not going to make a declaration until the Supers. Where like they're gonna be like 4 teams that make a super. I go, oh my god, they were good. I couldn't tell. Got it now. Okay, I believe now. Like I've given up like trying to figure it out.
Like people forget this is a Stanford team that's been at the top of the Pac-12 for the past decade. Omaha run after Omaha run after Omaha run. Like maybe I'm not saying this is the best Stanford team they've had, but this Stanford team is struggling in the ACC. Maybe the Pac-12, obviously we know the Pac-12 wasn't that deep the last couple of years, but the ACC is showing like it is not easy. And it's got that 4-hour, 5-hour flight back and forth across the country every other weekend. So I just think the ACC is going to be really battle tested and ready to go when it comes to June.
Yeah, I'm looking at Stanford. They're 6-12 in conference, but they were 6-4 at one point. Like, or they were in danger of being swept 3 straight series.
5-1.
Oh, 5-1. You're right. They were in danger today. They ended up beating Clemson today, but they were in danger of being swept 3 straight series.
Yeah, they were 5-1 with a series win over North Carolina and or something else. But yeah, I mean, I think this conference is legit. I think it's got good arm, got good bat. I think it's got everything. So. We'll see. I mean, we'll see. I think it's only going to be a 2, maybe 3. It's going to probably be a 3 hosting league, which is
really, yeah, that's
3 is not a lot in the ACC. That's a down year.
Yeah, you think about it. Like the SEC is going to get probably 8 or 9. The ACC will get 3. The SunBelt looks like they're going to get 1. Big 12 2, and then Oregon State. Like there's your 16 right there. UCLA is like on the bubble.
Clemson, North Carolina, Georgia Tech, and Florida State are your 4. And you've got Wake Forest somewhere in the mix.
I don't think all 4 of those are locked to get a host.
Yeah. I don't think all 4 are going to host.
I don't think they're going to beat up on each other.
Yeah.
I think you're going to get 3. Clemson is a shoe-in. Georgia Tech is playing their way into a shoe-in. They're not there yet. But that's 2, and then Clemson, Florida State, Wake, and North Carolina. You're 1 more. I don't know if you can get 4. 3 hosts out of the ACC is a down year. That's not a good year.
I agree.
So,
Especially after
Anyways.
a year where they had 4 in Omaha.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, let's
the
do the mid-major here real quick. Mid-major top 25 brought to you by Game Time Sidekicks. Use promo code 11.7, get 15% off. Can't buy these in the store, but they have, I think he says like 140 different schools officially licensed, if I'm not mistaken. And man, they're great. They're great to us. They spoil us. And their products are amazing. I use it every day. So GameTimeSidekicks.com, promo code 11.7, 15% off your purchase.
Oh, shit.
And Dimitri, pull that mid-major top 25 graphic back up there. The UC Irvine Anteaters are still number 1 in our mid-major top 25. They win 2 out of 3 against UC Davis this week. Honestly, what is that? 6 or 7 straight weeks of them being number 1 in our mid-major
Weren't
top
they
25.
weren't they preseason number 1 too?
Nope.
No.
Dallas Baptist.
Oh, it was DBU.
Dallas Baptist was the preseason number 1. But it goes as follows. We'll do groups of 5 at a time. So UC Irvine 1, Troy Trojans 2, Coastal Carolina 3, Western Kentucky 4, Dallas Baptist 5. So what you have here is one Big West team, and then back-to-back SunBelt teams, and then back-to-back Conference USA teams. And we had to structure it. Troy beat Coastal 2 out of 3. Western Kentucky beat Dallas Baptist 2 out of 3. That's the structure there. But man, you look at Western Kentucky's record, 31-5. It pops off the page. Now the strength of schedule is not crazy, but they go back-to-back weeks of going 5-1 against Dallas Baptist and Liberty on the weekend series.
And both
That's
on the road.
Both on the road. Like that says
Yeah,
enough about a
and-
team for me, where it's like, yeah, this isn't a fluke what they're doing.
And those
They're
are the
good.
2 best programs pedigree-wise in the Conference USA, in my opinion.
Yep. And you guys, you want to know what's even crazier? Dallas Baptist RPI is up 18 this week. They're back in the top 20. They were in the 30s earlier on Tuesday. They were in the 30s. They're back in the top 20.
They played Jacksonville State. Is that who they played?
Yeah, they swept Jacksonville State. So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of big movers in the mid-major RPI world. So, I think Troy. I think the SunBelt is going to come down to Troy Coastal, but Southern Miss is right there.
Yeah. Oh, dude, you can never count them Southern Miss.
Never count them out.
Ever. In fact, like obviously Troy has a slight advantage over Coastal Carolina, even though right now I think Coastal's probably playing better baseball. They have a much better RPI and an overall record that's better. But it's going to come down to the final 4 weeks. Like I know Troy and Southern Miss play each other the last week of the season, or the last weekend of the season, and that's at Troy. So maybe a little advantage for Troy there. But Southern Miss also has Louisiana Lafayette the week before, which we know about that heated rivalry there. And then Coastal Carolina, I know I was looking at their schedule last week and was thinking, like, they're going to be battle tested. I know they don't have Southern Miss, but they're going to be battle tested with maybe it was the midweeks.
I thought they had a weak SunBelt.
Yeah, actually, I'm
schedule
looking at it
remaining.
now. Maybe I was thinking of Southern Miss, but yeah, honestly, like Coastal has Marshall, James Madison,
They're smooth
App
sailing.
State, ULM, and Old Dominion. Like not Murderers Row. It just feels like Coastal really has the only shot of hosting a regional out of.
Troy. You can't say Troy any much harder. Louisiana Monroe, Texas State, both at home, and then at South Alabama, and then at Arkansas State before they have Southern Miss. So I mean, going into the second weekend of May, Coastal, Southern Miss, and Troy are all going to be neck and neck within a game of each other in the SunBelt standing. So I think Coastal's got the edge right now, schedule wise, and they're a game up on them. So yeah,
man,
shot at hosting.
Man, so I wasn't in the convo to begin, and I know we don't heavily go through and really thin out, level by level in 1 through 25, and look at their resumes. I know Troy has the head-to-head series victory, but we have to remember it was at Troy. And Coastal won game 1, 11-3. Not close. Game 2, Troy needed a 4-run 8th inning to beat Coastal by just 1 run. And then game 3, Troy takes it. In Conway, do we not think that series goes the other way? Are we rating that or weighting that with like the utmost of, Coastal's got the higher RPI by quite a bit, better record, and they're not above Troy right now? I'm a little surprised by that.
How the hell did you just get that thumb thingy?
Yeah, he's on his phone.
It's throwing up the thumb. It's my phone.
Yeah.
It's the app.
That was cool.
So-
That was super cool.
Well, Noah, to be honest with you, I actually made Dimitri switch 2 and 3. Like before, when he was doing the mid-major top 25, like the rough draft version, he did have Coastal 2, Troy 3. I made him switch just because, like, tangibly, Troy did beat them 2 out of 3, and that is easier to defend online, or I guess a valid point in saying, like, hey, you know what, Troy at least won the series 2 out of 3. I think they're both damn good teams, and I hope to see both of them make a long postseason push. But like right now, I think if they played on a neutral side, I'd probably lean Coastal. If that
Me
answers
too.
your question.
Guys, can we push a new narrative as well? The Sun Belt, I feel like, has arrived. Like in the college baseball media spaces, it's arrived, large in part because of what you guys have done. With a 32 RPI and a strength of schedule of 199, Operation Honolulu Regional is dead. But can we push a Hilltopper one? Like, can we get all in behind? I understand the SOS doesn't look good, but 31-5.
Wait. Oh,
Can we make it happen? Because the Sun Belt's going to get a host shot. Can we get the CUSA some love? Let's
Dimitri,
get
pop up that graphic that you made earlier this week about all these mid-majors that have a chance at hosting.
Well, the thing is, I can show that graphic, but the problem is the RPI changes so much. So it's like,
True.
It's just a very fluid situation, if you will.
Yep.
Well, I can just tell you guys, Western Kentucky has no need. Like it would be impossible for them to host a regional. Their stadium is not hostable.
I know it's my favorite. We'll bust in bleachers and the whole thing. That's what I'm.
No, it's not. It's not.
I know. I want it.
I mean, the only way they would do it is the same thing Campbell was going to do, was host at a minor league park.
The minor league, yeah, that was just going through my head. I was trying to think of anybody that's down there.
Santa Barbara hosted at Lake Elsinore, Missouri State, had that minor league park. That's where they play their game. So, yeah, it's probably not going to happen. But, Ben, 6 through 10, let's go.
Sorry, I had a cough there. So number 6, Southern Miss, and look, they're up there. I honestly, I would put the top 8 teams probably in the same tier. Southern Miss 6, Cal Poly, who is 14-1 now in the Big West. They come in at number 7, and then UTSA number 8, Stetson at number 9, and then the biggest jump of the week was McNeese up to number 10, 24-5 overall this year. And the Southland is so good at baseball. It is a great conference. Surprisingly high as a conference RPI too. But yeah, that's 6 through 10. It's cool to see teams like McNeese be top 10, Stetson be top 10. It was really just because
carnage.
Teams 11 through 17, I think all lost their weekend series this week.
Yeah.
It was bad. I mean, the middle part of that top 25 from last week was terrible.
Yeah. Let's just start with Southern Miss. I think just like we said about Troy and Coastal, same thing for them. You take care of business, SunBelt. They're going to be right there in the large mix. I'm not worried about that. They just can't slip up much. It took a 5-run 8th and 9th inning for them to lose the sweep over Texas State. Texas State's out at that finale. Games like that probably don't matter that much, but it could matter at the end of the year. Cal Poly, step 1, they have a 3-step process for this season to be a memorable one. Step 1 was to beat Hawaii at home. Step 2 was to drive right down the road to Santa Barbara. Massive series against the Gauchos this weekend. And then step 3 is Irvine 2 weeks from now. So Cal Poly got everything in front of them.
Yep.
Hold on, guys. You guys keep talking. I have potentially great news.
Ooh.
All right. UTSA, I think they're the favorite and the clubhouse favorite to win the American Athletic. East Carolina, back-to-back series losses in the American Athletic. I don't know when the last time that happened is.
Yeah,
No,
Will
any
Sancha
idea?
from the top 25.
What?
I said Will Sancha from the top 25. They out
First
of
time
here.
ever, by the way. First time ever. But we have been doing this. The East Carolina was not in our mid-major top 25. First time ever. Maybe Cliff Godwin will do a couple more post-game conferences and he'll get that team fired up for the American Athletic Tournament. Because that's their only shot.
He needs to pull a Jay Johnson and just strip everybody's phones as soon as they walk in that locker room. That's what he did last year, right? They were
Something like
3-12 in the SEC and 3-9 in the SEC through the first 12 games.
Something like that. I guess I'll do it. 11 through 15. Grand Canyon, Lopes lost their series this weekend to Utah Valley, which is not great. East Tennessee State, not sure about them. They're 3-3 in the SoCon or something like that. Lost the series to UNC Greensboro 2 weeks ago. Hawaii, good team, just not sure. I mean, I think Hawaii actually made a big. Yeah, they jumped 21 spots this week in the RPI up to 51.
Even after losing the series.
They need to win this. They need to win that series against Irvine. I think that series against Irvine is in like 2 or 3 weeks. But anyway, Santa Barbara 14.
Wait. Let me pause you because the good news is come to fruition.
Uh-oh.
Breaking news. # Operation Bowling Green Kentucky Regional is a go. Class A Bowling Green Hot Rods Minor League Stadium in Bowling Green, Kentucky. Out of town May 30th through June 2nd when the opening regional would be. It's on, baby.
I knew it.
Nice
I knew it. Let's do it. Hilltopper Nation, we ride.
Hey, they got to apply to host. They cannot blow that because that whole process takes place like 2 weeks before or whatever. They have to apply to host at that minor league ball.
Are we talking about Western Kentucky?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think I know who Ben just texted. So guess what? Make sure to remind him to apply. Let's do this damn thing.
Operation Bowling Green Kentucky Regional is it's a go. It could easily happen.
God,
Full steam ahead.
It's just not going to happen. I want it to happen. It's just not going to happen. I mean,
We might be the only people in the world who
Kentucky gets into the top 15. There's just no way.
Dude,
you know
we
why
might be the only
Dimitri's
people in the
screen
world
is at the
who went
top
from Hawaii to Bowling Green, Kentucky.
yeah.
You know why Dimitri's screen is at the top of this order here on the stream?
Why?
Because he likes the rain on all 3 of our screens.
Well said. Well said. Then I'd like to also add.
Look at you peasants down there below me. Look at all those peasants down there. Look at all those peasants down there.
I'd like to add that we're probably the only podcast in the history of podcasts that an hour and 45 minutes in have experienced one of our co-hosts crossing state lines, have gone from Hawaii to Bowling Green, Kentucky, and have also Ubered Eats some Taco Bell because this guy battles Sunday scaries today. I've been hurting, gentlemen. This has been a mental pod for me. I'm not gonna lie.
We keep putting off my Uber Eats bets. I swear it's not on purpose.
No, I'm gonna take it up on it today.
All right. Back on schedule. 15 in the mid-major poll. Southeastern Louisiana, another one of those Southland teams. Southland might get 2 teams in, maybe. Charlotte is 16, Florida 17. Horrific. Hold on. 18, Florida Atlantic, another horrific series lost to Memphis at home. That just can't happen. Liberty got swept by Western Kentucky. Tulane at 20. Another AAC team that I'm kind of disappointed about. The conference was wide open for someone to take it, and Tulane just hasn't been able to do it.
Yeah.
Northeastern at 21, entering the ranking. They're the clubhouse favorite for the Coastal Athletic, the CAA. Creighton at 22, brutal series lost this weekend to
Seton Hall.
Disgusting.
Ugh.
Houston Christian, gentlemen. Let's have a moment of silence here. first time ever in the poll. The Houston Christian Huskies, Benton. What do you have to say?
Look, Coach V over there, first-year head coach, takes over from my boy Lance Berkman, immediately makes them a contender to win the conference. It's a strategy of not only finding local high school kids in the Houston area, but JUCO's plethora around his area, really good junior colleges, as well as just the portal. Like, we're taking guys from D2, D3, other Division I teams. We're going to mesh them all together, and we're going to win baseball games. So they got the 23 spot over UT Rio Grande Valley, who I guess probably has a better resume, but Houston Christian went to town in Edinburgh, Texas, and took 2 out of 3 from them. So very impressed on what they've done. We've already talked about it, but the Southland is good, especially that upper tier. And man, I hope to see them. I hope to see more of them as years pass. Like Houston Christian, it's a hotbed right in the middle of not downtown Houston, but right in the middle of Houston. And with Rice not being good, they could outperform Rice with a little bit of elbow grease and some stuff. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it feels like they're good, like they're here to stay.
Maybe. Anyways, College Charleston Cougars at 24, Missouri State Bears at 25. I think Missouri State got the Missouri Valley under control. Charleston's got the big time uphill to fight to catch up with Northeastern in the CAA. I think this year the swap. I think the CAA was a loaded conference a year ago with Charleston, Wilmington, and Northeastern. This year, Southland taking the front runner of that bottom tier of conferences that are loaded with potential postseason teams. SunBelt, we already know. Conference USA, don't forget Louisiana Tech. I think they're right there. I think they could be in for an exciting finish. I think they've got both Liberty and Dallas Baptist, if I'm not mistaken, still on the schedule. So, yeah.
I got settled in here, and I wanted to pull something up because I knew Western Kentucky's pitching staff was really good. They are 40 points better in team ERA than the second place team in the country. 263 team ERA for Western Kentucky.
Run a game.
Texas is at 303, 40 points below. Coastal Carolina, 6th in the nation, 351. When did we ever think that CCU would be in this spot?
Did you say Western Carolina?
Coastal Carolina.
Oh, Coastal. Yeah, pretty impressive. What a turnaround Schnall and them have done with that pitching staff.
Yeah, shout out to Matt Williams, who came down from South Carolina last year, pitching coach there now, and Coastal done a great job with that staff.
We could not think of his name, Jack. We could not think of his name.
Jack just rolls it off his tongue.
Oh, last pod.
Last pod, I was like, Matt who? Matt Tompkins? Matt, who is it?
Well,
I called him Matt Taylor, who was Georgia Tech's guy. Like,
Well, Ben, I remember we were in Jacksonville for the Jacks Classic in week 2, and you and I were both kind of roaming the field pre-game for that Coastal game, and we were like, oh, shit, I was broadcasting the damn thing, and I was like, what are you doing here? You were wearing the other pinstripes. It was wild.
Hey, Ben, did you notice by any chance who's in third in the Big West right now?
Yeah, it's technically Fullerton, right?
Yeah.
But didn't they lose this weekend? Like, they lost 2 out of 3 to somebody, didn't they? Oh, I guess it was maybe Oregon State. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I really am excited. I want to see some of these other Big West teams play some of these bigger schools and see what happens, because I think Cal Poly and Irvine are a legit team.
Mm-hmm.
Dimitri closed the mid-major top 25 for those that are not watching on YouTube and changed the topic. And he said, did you see who was blank? And I was like, oh, this guy's he's gonna inject his Survivor second place, tied for first right now with just 2 people in the Survivor pool. Holy smokes, what a run for Jeffrey Macias.
We are down to 2 people in our Survivor contest, and it just happens the Riz God is one of them. We're going to have to figure out if Dimitri wins, we're going to have to figure out a way to give away this prize. Because I forget who is it with
Wilkes.
you? Who's the other guy?
Wilkes
3. So listen, Wilkes, technically you probably won already, but you got to earn it, right? Like you got to see it out.
You gotta
You
come
got to
through
beat
that.
Dimitri. You got to beat Dimitri.
Yeah.
I actually hope this lasts in like 3 more weeks, so we get down to the final 2 weeks of the season. But yeah, I guess if you've been eliminated from Survivor, you have to root for the Riz God to win, so that we can find a way to get to give away the Survivor.
It would be
but
easy.
I'm obviously
in
not rooting for you. I'm rooting for Mr. Wilkes.
It would be easy in weekend 10 to just award Wilkes the award, but that's not.
Oh my
quite
gosh,
how
we have
11
a
points.
visitor.
Whoa, what are we doing here?
Guys, I just brought in
Hello.
the All-American college baseball girl to make a ruling. Natalie Dimitri is one of 2 contestants left.
Okay.
In one of our pick'ems. What should we do?
What should you do?
She better be ruthless.
Give it,
What does that
should we
mean?
just give it to the other person, or should we allow Dimitri to play for the cash prize?
Oh, I do have a soft spot for Dimitri.
Oh, okay. All right.
Oh.
Chill with that.
I know. He was sweet talking to me all about Italy the last time I saw him. So I got to keep that option open.
Man, our fans are disgusted. We're going to be disgusted by what just happened.
In all honesty, I just got off work, and guys, it's kind of late actually. Out here in the East Coast. Any chance we can wrap this up a little quicker?
Yo, Dimitri.
Oh.
I'm here. You think I want to?
Oh.
What time
It's
is it? over
Dimitri's
there?
fault.
5:55 a.m.
Oh my gosh, that's just dedication.
Yo, college baseball fans, we love this. Yo, sick flex that you just got off work too.
Anyway, wrap it up.
All right, we'll
Yeah,
be back.
Dimitri's got a
after the-
pillow calling his name.
Yeah,
Oh my
I mean, I
God.
feel like me and Noah could do
Me-
this all night, guys.
Dude,
Like,
I
we're the
could.
only ones built for this.
No. We got to get our weekend series for this week.
Oh, Jack, if you need
Let's
to
do
go.
it.
If you need to
Lock
bounce, Jack,
in.
go for it. But look,
Hey.
I'm still ready to roll.
Hey, college baseball fans, it was a Sunday scary. I'm checking out. I'm dying. I love you guys.
See you, Jack.
Okay, that's
All right,
what
yeah,
it
let's-
was. I believe you, Jack.
Let's pick our weekend series now. Hey, note, weekend series start Thursday this week, so be ready.
Yep. Show on Tuesday night.
Yeah, we'll do a show Tuesday night. That'd be good. All right, so the 6 weekend series. Let's get them out here. Alabama at LSU. We like it. Auburn at
Alabama
Texas.
lost that series to Mississippi State, right?
Yeah.
And it's at LSU. I feel like the Tigers are going to be pretty popular pick there.
Oh, I already have like 6 series right now.
Charlotte at South. No, we're not doing that one. Never mind.
Virginia at Florida State. We
No.
got Georgia at Vanderbilt, Louisville, Clemson,
Florida
Alabama,
A&M,
LSU.
Florida A&M at Bethune-Cookman, first place. In
Yes.
the South.
Yes, right. That's a lock.
Let's go. Those two have been solid the entire year.
So Florida A&M at Bethune.
Yep. And then we want to do. Hey, by the way, Ben, San Diego won 5 straight.
Saw that. Do you want to do Portland at San Diego?
No.
Okay.
I don't want to touch San Diego until the end.
Hey, I got a series that's going to be a little unorthodox, but just for nostalgic purposes, Long Beach State at Cal State Fullerton. Is that you guys like that one?
I see.
I mean, I
see the
have
vision.
no arguments with this series. I totally agree with it being one of the notable of the week.
Are we doing?
But for our pick'em contest, I also think that Fullerton might be picked by like 80+%.
Yeah.
But
Well,
hold
okay.
on.
We'll stay in the Big West. Cal Poly is at UC Santa
Yeah.
Barbara. That's a tough
Yeah.
series.
Yeah.
Honorable mention: Dirtbags versus Titans.
Well done.
Now, probably a UCSB. I mean, Hawaii is at Irvine, but I'm taking Irvine 100 times out of 100 times
Yeah,
there.
that's easy.
Yeah, Hawaii off the island.
Are we doing Auburn at Texas?
I'm down.
I
Yeah,
think we can
Auburn
pick
after
two SEC.
Auburn after a huge sweep over LSU at Texas. Let's see if Auburn's for real. I like that series.
Ooh, here's one that's a big debate in our mentions right now for top 20 mid-major top 25. Liberty at La Tech. A lot of La Tech fans think that they need to be in and not Liberty.
We have 3. FAMU at Bethune, Cal Poly, UCSB, Auburn at Texas. We need 3 more.
Can I interest you in St. John's at Creighton?
No.
Ben, spit your stat about the Johnnies while they're up.
I don't remember my stat. What is it?
They lost 10 straight
Yeah,
to
they're
begin the year.
18 and 3 since they started 1-10. Yeah, they're playing good ball. Johnnies look good. I like Charlotte at South Florida. Why don't you like that one?
Wait. UTRGV at Southeastern.
Yeah. Solid.
Yeah, let's write it down.
I like that series.
Ham in America, baby. I mean, that's 4. We need 2 more. Charlotte, South Florida.
What do you have written down right now?
Me?
Yeah.
FAMU at Bethune, Cal Poly at UC Santa Barbara, Auburn at Texas, UT Rio Grande Valley at Southeastern Louisiana.
Okay, I like Charlotte. Charlotte at South Florida. That's a battle of the two best Friday night guys in the American.
South Florida just lost that series to Rice, which is ugly.
That's fine. It's a
shout out to Rice though.
Yeah, bounce back spot.
I will do that one. South Charlotte at USF.
Dude, that's a battle of the two best pitchers in that conference on Friday.
Who's the South Florida pitcher? Busby?
Oh, dude, here's a good one.
Who's the South Florida pitcher? Why am I blanking?
Oh my god! If you wouldn't have said that, I would have rattled it off. I watched. Dude, who was it?
UCLA at Oregon. What are we talking about? UCLA at Oregon.
UCLA at Oregon. They start at don't they start on Friday?
Yep.
I got one. Yale and Penn, the two best teams right now in the Ivy.
No, we can't do that one, dude. We have too many other good ones.
All right. What about
Kansas State?
Kansas State is a good one. That I would lean that one for sure. Let's make sure we're not forgetting anybody. Florida at Mississippi State.
That's a tough one to pick, but I don't want to do that series because
I kind of like that one better than Oregon. I like that one better than Auburn at Texas.
Nah.
Auburn at Texas, you're going to get a ton of Texas people. If it was at Auburn,
after Auburn just swept LSU and they beat Bama, I think now they're getting more buzz than they ever have.
That's tough.
Florida, Mississippi State's just two mids.
I think that's the most important series. It's the most important series of the weekend. The winner of that series is set up nicely for the postseason. The loser's in trouble.
Corey Braun was the South Florida Bull.
Corey Braun, yes.
Pitcher.
Anyway, yeah, I think I want Auburn, Texas more than Florida, Mississippi State.
Me too, man.
All right, so read off your 6.
Well, we've got Florida A&M at Bethune, lock. Cal Poly, Santa Barbara, lock. UCLA, Oregon, lock. Kansas State, lock. And then we've got 3 series, and we need to pick from 2 of them. Auburn at Texas, UTRGV at Southeastern, Charlotte at South Florida. Process of elimination. Eliminate one of those, Ben.
I like all 3 for different reasons. Man,
gotta
that's tough.
We got to have Auburn at Texas. The SEC
Hey,
game series.
can I throw in an honorable mention, maybe in consideration?
Sure.
Go ahead.
Last week it would have been a no doubt choice in the top 6, but this weekend it's lost a little luster. Kansas State at Kansas.
We
We
said
have
that.
that one.
We have it.
Oh, it's in. It's in.
Ooh,
My
yeah.
apologies.
I have
we
an
have
idea. Hey, I have an idea. Every year we do 1 week with 8 series to help get people back in the mix.
You're not wrong.
Is this the week?
I feel like we choose like a loaded week though for that.
I mean, I don't know how many. We have 4 weekends left. I don't know if any of those weekends are loaded enough.
I think we do it this week.
Hold on. Let me look at next
I'm gonna
Friday.
take a peek. Yeah.
Let's end the show. Let's end the show, though. End the show.
Yeah,
right,
we
let's
have
do it.
we have our honor, like we have what we're looking
Yeah,
at.
end the
Let's
show.
wrap it up.
2
and
hours
we'll
is
talk.
just criminal.
Let's
No,
do
it's
8.
not. I think people enjoy that.
Peace out. Thank you guys for listening.
All right. See everybody. Let's do 8.